Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Emerge. I'm your host, Tiffany Boyle, and this week we will be discussing with Dorothea how to make a divine decision and hear Deshana's 2 cents about finances. We are so excited to speak with our special guest today, Bob McKenna, who is the president and CEO of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and Dean, a business mentor from SCORE, who will share with us how SCORE helps business owners start their business. Next, join me, Tiffany Boyle, in the CEO Corner. Welcome, everybody, to the CEO Corner. We are back again, the only place where you will get tips on how to live your best CEO life and emerge to the next level. As Commissioner of the Revenue and also a business owner, I always hear about business owners not knowing about information, from taxes to getting capital to marketing resources. Well, I'm here to tell you I am going to solve all of your problems. Ha! That's funny. Everybody put LOL. Because if I could do that, then, well, let's just say if I could do that, I would have solved all the world's problems, right? So as a small business owner, you've got to be savvy with what you have and figure out creative ways to get more. So one word, resources. There are tons of resources out there to help any business owner. But with tons of resources, that also means that there's so many resources. How do we know what's real, what's true, and what pertains to your specific business? So if you're a small business owner, believe me when I say you're in good company, because nearly all businesses, and when I say all, I mean 99.7% in the US, have fewer than 500 workers. In fact, if you have fewer than 20 workers, you have something in common with 89% of businesses. Revenue-wise, we all know the breakdown is quite different. The big firms take a big chunk out of the pie, despite making up such a small percentage of total businesses. So, needless to say, it's tough out there to be a small business owner because you've got to compete with the big dogs. So, start with resources from viable sources such as SCORE, who you will actually hear from later on during the show, which is why me talking about resources is so important right now in the CEO Corner. The U.S. Small Business Administration, the IRS Small Business and Self-Employed Tax Center, and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's also the Minority Business Development Agency. And of course, people, do not overlook listening to other entrepreneurs. Now, of course, we want the gift of discernment. So you can't just talk to everybody. You need to talk with entrepreneurs, small business owners that actually have a proven track record. And even with the advice they give you, please take it in and make sure it is correct. Fact check it, because we do not want fake news when we are going to look up our resources. So CEOs, know you have to take the time to research and look up the resources that are going to help your business emerge to the next level. And that's my tip from the CEO Corner. Now, coming up, we will be speaking with the CEO and president of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce and someone who served our country in the Navy, Bob McKenna. I'm Tiffany Boyle, and you are listening to Emerge here on WHOV. If you would like to partner with us and have your business spotlighted on the show, please contact us at emergethemagazine.com. Hi, Bob. We are so happy and excited to have you on the show, especially while we're talking about business resources, business associations, business networking, all of the above. And we thought, who better to talk about it than the executive director of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce? So how are you today, Bob?
I'm doing great. And it's great to be here with you tonight, Tiffany. Or today.
Today, yes. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So sure. I am a 1984 graduate of the United States Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, New York. I went into the Navy for 4 years, and then I spent 27 years there and moved all over the U.S. and the world as a surface warfare officer in the world's greatest fighting force. And after I retired in 2011, I moved back to Newport News, where I owned a house and where my kids all went to high school, and was a defense contractor, worked in defense contracting for several years, and then somehow ended up at the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. And I've been there for 4 years now, and I'm still learning, and I'm going to be learning for the rest of my time there, which is TBD. I hope to be there for another 5 or 6 years, but and I'll stay there until I stop learning.
I like it. I like it. Well, first off, thank you so much for your service to this country. We really appreciate it. And secondly, we want you to be there for a long time. You are doing great things for the Peninsula and for our businesses. I know when you probably came on board, everybody was like, oh, the Peninsula is not really great as far as business community. And I can tell that you've really, changed that and are working to strive for a better place for our businesses and our economy here on the Peninsula. So can you tell us about when you first started, some of the things that you had to get going and doing as the executive director?
So I came in March of 2018, and this is not being humble. This is the actual truth, 100% truth. I knew nothing about the business community. I was a career naval officer, and I had spent some time on the peninsula, on the Virginia Peninsula, but I was focused on U.S. Navy. I was doing U.S. Navy training even as a defense contractor. And then I came to know the chamber through a short-time contract that I was working on for the Department of Veteran Affairs. And I was working in the community trying to create better conditions for transitioning service members and their families. So I was working with educators, and I was working with business people, and I was working with city officials. So kind of all the same people that I'm working with now. And I got to be good friends with my predecessor, who was Mike Coons, was then the president and CEO of the chamber. And we just developed a relationship. I headed up a couple of committees focused on military issues at the chamber. And then about 3 years later, he decided to retire. He called me and said, hey, why don't you come to the chamber or apply for my job at the chamber? So I did, and just kind of as a lark. I mean, I thought it would have been a neat opportunity, but I didn't expect to get it because, like I said, I didn't have business experience. But he pointed out to me that when I was in the Navy, I had a staff, I had a budget, I had a product, which was national defense. I had a customer or a client, which was the U.S. public. And so I kind of ran a business, and I ran several of them at different levels when I was growing up in the Navy. But I still really didn't know what made the Peninsula business community tick and what made our economy move. So when I got here, I'd say I spent the first year or two leading up to the pandemic, unfortunately, but the first 2 years that I was there was kind of a learning tour. And it was all about building relationships with the business community. So I never turned down an invitation to go to a meeting or to go to an event or to meet somebody new. And that continued for the 4 years that I've been there. And in building those relationships and asking questions and listening, I think I learned a lot about what our needs are as a business community and what our potential is and where the opportunities are and where the challenges are. So it's been a whirlwind 4 years, even through that slow period that we were kind of in hiding before we emerged. We emerged from the pandemic, and now we're back to business, right? Right. So before we emerged, slowed down a little bit, but I was still on the phone, sending emails, reading everything I could get my hands on so I could learn more, so I could be a quasi-expert. Now, there are real experts in many of the different areas where we work, and I will keep learning from them, and I will keep supporting them to the best of my ability. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. And I loved how you said you emerged from the pandemic. Like Tiffany, we have never use that same, but I feel like, you might have been on to something there. I think that's something we can definitely use. But I just want to take it a step back for our listeners who just may not understand or know. Can you briefly just kind of explain what the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce does? Like, what's their charter?
Oh, so that's perfect. What a great question. Thank you for that. So we have so I'll tell you what our mission is, and it's more of a motto: connecting business with opportunity. And let me kind of dig a little deeper into that. What I tell people all the time is we work in the business community with our partners and members to help create the conditions that are conducive to economic growth and upward mobility for all of our citizens. So what does that mean, right? It's so there's many facets, right? There's working with the economic development departments from all the localities. So we serve 5 localities: Hampton, Newport News, Poquoson, York County, James City County. So working with the economic development directors, who are the experts in economic development from the localities, and try to support them in any way that we can. We work with the workforce development people, so the Hampton Roads Workforce Council, to try to tap into those great resources for workforce. So I like to tell people there's 3 different pipelines that I see, right? There's the K through 12 pipeline, those kids who come out of high school ready to go into the workforce. And then there's those kids who graduate from high school and go off to a university. And then hopefully some of them will come back here into our workforce, or some of the ones who left home in Northern Virginia or Richmond and came to Christopher Newport University or Hampton University or William and Mary. Hopefully they'll stay after they graduate. So that's the second part of our potential workforce. And the third part, and a greatly untapped potential source, is our transitioning service members, whether they're people who serve for 4 years, one initial tour and then get out and enter the workforce, or people like me who serve for a career and then enter the workforce. So those are 2 of our main partners: the economic development people, the workforce development people. But talk about any aspect of the economy. There's advanced manufacturing, there's the education side, there's science and technology, there's the tourism, right? We have great tourism and cultural institutions here. So what the chamber kind of does, because they're all doing their piece and they're all experts in their arenas, what the chamber does is we're the connector and we're the convener and we're the conduit of information. So information comes into us and we make sure that information gets into the right hands. And I say that another C, we're the cheerleaders. So we're out doing events like Spotlight on the Peninsula, that's designed to shine a spotlight on some of the great assets we have on the peninsula, to raise the level of awareness and to raise the confidence of our people to take more chances and to start more businesses or expand businesses. So the chamber is a very small entity. It has a very small role in a lot of different things. I could keep going, but your turn.
No, that is great. That is great. That is exactly what we wanted to hear. And you are tuned into Emerge. I'm Tiffany Boyle, one of your co-hosts, along with Deshana Kemp Garnett. And we are listening to Bob McKenna, Executive Director of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. So Bob, tell us what business or business owner or executive director, I guess, or general manager would come and say, I want to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And why would they?
So let me see if I'm interpreting this question correctly. And so I'll answer it by telling you a little bit more about the chamber. We have, say, 700 member businesses, right, who are members of the chamber, and they span from some home-based businesses all the way up to the largest industrial employer in the state of Virginia. So the question you're asking, I think, is how does a chamber that has 4 full-time staffers and 8 to 10 hour work days, 5 days a week, how do they bring value to all those different types of businesses, from many different sizes, from 1 to 25,000, different sectors, different business models, different target audience who they're selling their products or their services to. So it's a good question. And I'm not sure that I have the answer yet, but we work, our executive committee and our board of directors has frequently in the last year had strategic conversations about, okay, let's look at all the different things that we do and all the different ways that our full-time staff spends their time, and make sure that we know how best to spend that time and how best to reach out to the business community and what value are we providing to the different types of businesses. So we've been putting together spreadsheets and having conversations and sitting down for strategic sessions. And that's kind of where I came up with those C's that I talked to you about before, because we tried to look at what unique thing does the chamber do for the business community that nobody else does. And that's where we came and said, we're the connector, we're the convener, we're the conduit, we're the collaborator, and we're the cheerleader. So 5 C's. So we connect. So Tiffany, I've done some of this for you, and you've done some of it for me, right? We go and have coffee, and I say, hey, I hear what you're saying. Have you talked to so-and-so? And you say, no, I haven't met that person. So we bring you together, and then maybe we work on something together and solve a problem that some of our businesses are having, or we solve a problem that some of your clients or the citizens of Newport News are having. So that's the way that connections brings value. And we're a convener. So we'll bring together many different people who are working on similar things, but are stovepiped and don't know about each other or don't work together for whatever reason. And I'll say, and the chamber will say, hey, come on down to the chamber Thursday at 10 a.m. and let's work on this together. And let's share experiences and share best practices and see where the intersections are and how we can work together. So that's how we're a convener. And then conduit, what we found during the pandemic, for instance, was when everybody was staying home and businesses were struggling to just stay alive or stay afloat, there was all this information coming from the state and the local level and the federal government and so many different sources that it was overwhelming people. So the staff at the chamber sat down and started digging through all that data, all that information on a regular basis, and putting out a newsletter that trimmed it down and said, okay, here's the important stuff that you need to know. So that's how we were a conduit. And collaborator, I would say, when you're a staff of 4 and you're trying to serve 700 members of all different types, you have to find partners, right? There's workforce development. We can't do that by ourselves. We don't, right? We serve other masters. There's economic development folks, the tourism folks, the Newport News Hospitality Association, all these different organizations that are working hard to solve problems and to make things better. And we're just a small part of that. We dive in and help where we can. And then the cheerleader, I already talked about that a little bit, but the cheerleader is, I came back here from Florida. My last tour was in Jacksonville, Florida. And I came back to Newport News with my family because this was home. So I'm all in, my staff is all in, the board is all in on making the Peninsula a better place to live, work, and play.
Love it, love it. And Deshana, let me tell you something. When Bob says connector, he means it. And when he's like, Tiffany, have you met such and such? I'm always like, no, because Bob knows everybody.
That's a good thing. We all need someone like Bob in our lives. We all need that connector. But Bob, you said something at the beginning when we were talking. You talked about how we kind of emerged through the pandemic, and then you briefly touched on the struggles that a lot of business owners had faced during the pandemic. And so I've seen a lot of reports, and I'm sure like everybody has heard about the hiring, the shortages, not being able to find qualified talent for some of these jobs. And some of the things I see that out of this pandemic, there have been so many business owners and entrepreneurs that have been born. So have you seen an uptick in that on the Peninsula at all?
So I've seen a lot of desire, and I've seen a lot of organizations who are trying their best to help people start their own businesses. And I can just, list a few, the Virginia Workforce Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center at Hampton University received a federal grant for millions of dollars to establish this entrepreneurship center and to help people who, just for free, really, they can just come into this program, and through hard work and paying attention, they can learn how to establish. If they have a good idea, they can establish their own business and they can get assistance. And the Hampton Roads Workforce Council is doing some of the entrepreneurship stuff. But there's so many organizations right now that are focused on clearing the path for people, making it easier for them, including the Newport News Commissioner of the Revenue, looking for ways to make it easier to establish a business, remove some of those obstacles, remove some of the unnecessary regulations, provide the proper education and tools, and help start tapping into these good ideas and the hard work that people will, the good ideas they have and the hard work that they're willing to do to bring a service or a product to the public. So yeah, I see a renewed energy and enthusiasm for that. And I think it's going to take a little while, but ask me a year from now, and I'll probably tell you that, yeah, we see a lot of new businesses springing up. And we've seen some of them who are coming to the chamber and saying, hey, we think we could benefit from being chamber members. We've just started a new business, whether it's like making soap or, I can't even think of another example, but that's one that just popped into my head because a new business just opened up and they joined the chamber. So yeah, there's definitely some energy there. And we're trying to assist with that effort by working with different organizations and also by doing seminars at the chamber for small business seminars.
Awesome. So if you are just tuning in, we are Emerge. You are here with myself, Deshana Kemp Garnett, co-host Tiffany Boyle, and we have Mr. Bob McKenna, who is Executive Director at Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. Bob has been giving us some great information about how the Chamber of Commerce can really help businesses on the peninsula. But one question I have is, Bob, can you talk a little bit about the membership? And if somebody wanted to be a member, what does that process look like?
So they can just call me or they can send me an email. Actually, they'd probably be better just to go to our website. So it's www. And I think I'm going to get this right, vapeninsulatchamber.com or org. But, we all use Google. So just type in Virginia Peninsula Chamber and it will pop up, click on the link and then click on membership. And you can go to a page where you can sign up to be a member. And you can also find the phone number of our membership services coordinator and just give her a call or send her an email and then she'll facilitate the process. But it's a very easy process. It can be done in one sitting. And the way we do membership is based on the number of employees. And I can tell you our membership prices are very reasonable because we haven't changed them since 2007 or 2008.
Wow.
So it's, obviously it's a member the size of Newport News Shipbuilding or Ferguson cost a lot more per year than somebody who has 5 employees. So, but it's affordable. And if you think that we can bring value to your company, then give us a call or come see us, come to one of our coffee connections or business connections and just start talking to us and say, what can the chamber do for my specific type of business? And then I'll probably turn around and say, what do you think we should be doing for you? Because that's another way that we learn by having an open dialogue and asking people how we can bring value to their business.
All right, Bob, I'm going to ask you the toughest question you will ever be asked. Are you ready for this?
Probably.
What does the word emerge mean to you?
So, well, other than the fact that it's associated with one of my favorite people on the peninsula, Tiffany Boyle, it is. So what it means is to come out of something. And I think you can use emerge to describe a person. So a person like emerging from a fog or emerging from their house or a cave or something like that. Or you can use it as an idea. An idea that emerges out of nowhere, right? Boy, this concept, this initiative just came out of nowhere and took us by a storm. Or I think you could also use it, let's see, emerge. Something becomes readily apparent or obvious, right? And so that's kind of an idea. So an idea can emerge out of thin air.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Is that so? So tell me, where did the name come from?
Oh,
I'm doing the interviewing now.
Shana, I don't even know. It's been so long. I think we were, and Shana, tell me if I got this right or not. I think when we were thinking about a name for what we wanted to do, and we want to showcase business owners. We want to encourage small businesses to grow, and we just don't want it to stop at any point, right? So I think we were thinking, if I get started in a business, I'm going to go from, the baby stage to then maturity. And then if I'm in the maturity stage, then, I want to go to even more maturity or maybe an exit plan or anything like that. But there's always another level to get to. So never to stay stagnant. And I think emerge just kind of fit that.
Rise up, come out, right? How about like the horse that won the Kentucky Derby on Saturday emerged from nowhere, right? Came out of the pack from, I think was in 17th place coming around the last bend and then won. So, but it also emerged in that Friday. It wasn't even part of the field, that horse.
Oh, wow.
And then at the last minute, the horse dropped out. They replaced the horse with the horse that eventually won the race. So that certainly fits that definition.
That's right. So
coming out of nowhere.
Coming out of nowhere. It's for all stages, all people. It doesn't even have to be business, but it could be in your own personal life. But we felt just it encompassed everything that we want to get across.
Well, I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. Even ourselves, our business has emerged, gone back, emerged again, gone back. So
yeah. And we truly are emerging from the pandemic now. So
yes. So thank you so much for being on the show, sharing with us about the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and really just talking about the importance of the 5 C's that you guys have. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Tiffany. And thanks again for having me on.
I'm Tiffany Boyle, and you are listening to Emerge here on WHOV.
You have a mission. It's no collision. Hold the phone. Don't text. You're angling to be next. Brothers and sisters, you won't see it coming. You're off the road. Your life explodes. It's not worth it. Don't do it. You only think there's nothing to it. Put it down. Hang up. Pay attention to highway action. Behind the wheel, there is no such thing as a small distraction. Join the conversation at decidetodrive.org, a public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Welcome to today's lottery drawing. And today's winning numbers are not yours, not yours, and another number that's not yours. And the final number is not yours.
When it comes to having money, don't rely on luck. Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering it. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Gina Pemberton, president of the National Hampton Alumni Association. Our time is now. This is our moment to define what being a Hamptonian really means. At a time when the relevancy and impact of HBCUs is without question, it's absolutely critical that we all engage, work together, and give back to our home by the sea. Engaging as an alumnus means to join your local alumni chapter, mentor a current student, and donate regularly. Join your local alumni chapter now, logging on to NHAAINC.org. Keep Hampton's legacy strong for generations to come. Keeping you informed, we are Smooth 88.1 WHOV.
If there was ever a time to live united, it is now. Now is the time to speak with one voice, to build up, not tear down. It's time to join hands and live united against the problems that keep our communities from thriving. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you? Volunteer or donate now at unitedway.org.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take a deep breath in and let go of the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk. Or when you hit that piñata into your neighbor's yard. Let it go.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. I'm Dorothea, and you're listening to Emerge on WHOV 88.1. All right, so now it's time for you to join me as we emerge into our greatest potential by making a divine decision with Dorothea. Every one of us inevitably operates and proceeds through the course of our life based upon a series of decisions, whether it's one that you've made or one that was made for you. We can all agree a choice, a decision, it navigates us from one area of our lives into another. Let's take a minute to think about what a decision is. The dictionary, defines it as a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. And divine, that means excellence. So an excellent decision. And with that being said, let's make the divine decision today to walk in joy. Joy is defined as a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. So in turn, we usually associate joy as the result of an experience that has produced happiness and fulfillment in our lives in some way. How many of us know by experience that life doesn't always present us with the perfect scenarios or narratives to facilitate the joy we expect or even desire? So I ask you to think about the following statement. Joy, in fact, is a state of contentment. Possessing joy can not only be ideal in circumstances or situations that are comfortable. I know, in fact, it serves us a greater purpose to understand true joy. And having this understanding in the moments where life has blatantly delivered us the opposite. We have to reject the idea that experiencing joy can only be dependent or achievable when life's been good to us. Joy is attainable in the midst of our pain and in the presence of our most difficult circumstances, the ones that usher in discomfort, tribulation, and even pain. A reassuring and comforting statement from me is that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Joy isn't guaranteed to be an immediate feeling, and we should always allow ourselves the grace to identify when we're experiencing hurt. I mean, we're only human. But let us choose to redirect those feelings appropriately, which helps to return us to a state of contentment. I've come to know that the joy of the Lord is my strength, and this knowledge comforts and always returns me, not only to my former state of joy, but one greater than I could have ever imagined. So join me today, emerging into your best life by making the divine decision to walk in joy. Knowing this decision will ultimately help to shape and create a path that reflects a light of excellence in our lives. I'm Dorothea Schuler. You're listening to Emerge Wednesdays on WHOV 88.1 iHeartRadio. And this, my friends, has been another divine decision with Dorothea. And to our listeners out there, you can also decide to be a part of our Emerge Wednesdays broadcast and submit your response to our signature question. What does the word emerge mean to you? Share that with us on our IG at Emerge the Magazine. This week's response is from Teresa Lassiter of the Legacy of Hope Foundation in Newport News, Virginia. The word emerge means to merge into every place that God wants you to be to advance his kingdom. Amen. Thank you so much, Teresa, for your response. I love a kingdom perspective, which is sure to emerge one into excellence. Coming up next, Deshana and Tiffany will be speaking with Dean Risseux of SCORE Williamsburg. SCORE is the nation's largest network of volunteer expert business mentors dedicated to helping businesses get off the ground, grow, and achieve their goals. After careers in the Army and industrial engineering research and development, Dean joined Williamsburg SCORE in 2010. He is a certified mentor helping new entrepreneurs in a wide range of business ventures. He has been chapter chair for 8 years, working with other local organizations to support small businesses throughout the peninsula. He has special interest in guiding people on forming and managing nonprofit charities, ensuring they're properly structured and registered with the appropriate federal, state, and local agencies. Awesome. I'm so excited to hear about everything SCORE has done and what they have to offer. So thank you so much for listening. This is Dorothea Schuler with Emerge on WHOV 88.1 iHeartRadio. And again, here's Tiffany and Deshana.
Hello, you are here with Emerge on this fine day. I am your host, Deshana Kemp Garnett, along with co-host Tiffany Boyle. And today we have the pleasure of talking with Mr. Dean Risseux, who has been the chair for 8 years of the Williamsburg chapter of SCORE. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and your listeners.
Awesome. So first of all, tell us what SCORE is, because I use that acronym so much. What exactly does it stand for?
Well, originally it stood for Senior Corps of Retired Executives. And over the years, we've tried to de-emphasize that because a lot of our mentors are not retired. They're still out there in the workforce. Although primarily, once people retire, they're looking around for ways to contribute to the community, and they find out about SCORE. And SCORE has been around for 50 years now, and we provide free and confidential advice to people that want to start or expand a small business. And we do this primarily through one-on-one mentoring, but also provide workshops and access to other resources. Williamsburg SCORE is one of 8 chapters in Virginia. There's another one in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and another up in Richmond, and others throughout the state. So across the country, there are 250 chapters with over 11,000 volunteers. And we're a resource partner under the Small Business Administration. There's a paid staff up in Washington, D.C., but the rest of us, 11,000, are volunteers, giving anywhere from 2 or 3 hours a week up to 10 or 20 hours a week, all depending on how much time we want to provide.
You know, I'm glad you said that. I did not realize that it was mainly just volunteer-based.
Again, we're in the government. It's and the staff is paid. There are about 15 people paid up in the DC area, but all the rest are volunteers. We do get funding in order to locally to pay for the rent, to pay for advertising, and the other activities that we do. But we're all volunteers below the national level.
Gotcha. So I was looking at Virginia Pollen online a few weeks ago, because we like to stay up on, the different events and resources available for business owners, especially in the Hampton Roads area. And I saw that SCORE had quite a few workshops in there. So can you kind of talk to us about the different workshops that SCORE offers?
Here at in Williamsburg, we offer free workshops quite a few times in the library in the evening. And these free workshops are how to start your own business. And I run a workshop on how to start and manage a nonprofit. And we do those 3 or 4 times a year. Then on Saturday mornings, we have paid workshops. And these workshops are typically done in the Greater Williamsburg Chamber of Commerce conference room. And we have a legal boot camp that we put on, provided by a local law firm. We do QuickBooks for Business, getting your taxes ready, and a number of other topics. And those we charge. We charge $25. You can register online, and those are typically on a Saturday morning, and we do those about 1 or 2 a month. And more recently, we're doing some of these workshops down in the Newport News and Hampton area. We just opened up a branch down there, have about 5 volunteers further down the peninsula, and some from across the water that provide the workshops and the one-on-one mentoring down in that area.
Tiffany, that seems like something that's right up your alley for, I know, what you do for the city of Newport News and the residents. So I didn't mention, but, Tiffany is such an amazing lady outside of, the radio show and having the magazine and being a mom and a dedicated daughter and sister. She is also the Commissioner of Revenue for Newport News. And so I know she's always trying to find different resources and putting on events for business owners in that area. So I'm sure this is something she is definitely interested in. I can just see the wheels turning.
We will definitely have someone reach out to see how we can partner with SCORE on some workshops, because we like to add in the legal aspect or the taxes aspect of it to make sure people usually, get their LLC or their state corporation, then they forget about their locality. And then we're like, no, you still have to pay us too. And we don't like for business owners to be behind or to have to play catch up on taxes. So we like to explain it to them, through our workshops and hopefully catch them up front. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 2 mentors in particular that work on the tax angle. One of them is a tax advisor. Actually, she lives up in the Northern Neck, but she comes down and provides a workshop on getting ready for your taxes. And of course, during COVID, many of our workshops were done on Zoom, but we've been back to in-person workshops for probably about 6 or 8 months now. And over there in Newport News, the Economic Development Agency there at City Center has provided space for us to conduct both our workshops and also our interviews. And again, we've got have a co-chair down there who works closely with the different government entities and quasi-government entities.
Right. No, that's amazing. So why, going back to you volunteering, why did you decide to volunteer to help other businesses grow?
Well, I had always heard about SCORE. It's been around for 50 years, and for some reason I had stumbled across it all those years. So it was always in the back of my mind. And then when I ended up in Williamsburg and was retired and looking around for ways to keep busy and to continue to meet people, I came across SCORE, and very early on got involved with a presentation on how to organize and manage nonprofits. And I've really enjoyed this because I meet all these amazing people that are that now have the time and energy and passion in order to start a nonprofit, but they just don't know how to do it. And SCORE can provide that education to them. And in fact, I think it was last Wednesday evening, we had 9 different people with a wide range of ideas of starting a nonprofit in order to contribute back to their communities. And it was just a delightful chance to talk with them and lay out the process. We actually have a pamphlet, a 30-page pamphlet we've put together along with a checklist that takes you just right down the list of how to form a nonprofit. The one for starting a regular business is very straightforward at the surface. You register with the State Corporation Commission, write to the IRS to get your free EIN. You can take the employer identification number over the bank to open your bank account, and then, of course, go to the city or county to get the business license. And people that want to start a business, maybe they know 2 or 3 of those things, but they don't know all 4. And we like to get them early and talk to them and tell them, okay, these are the 4 steps, but tell me again what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what's going to make you unique. What is it in today's business parlance? It's what's your value proposition? Right. What are you providing to the community that is not already out there? And from that, we can then help them put together a plan that identifies what they're unique about, what's unique about their business or them personally that they're going to provide. And then we can talk about how to market that, how to put that out there, and how to get the whole plan together before you actually start paying rent. So I said that so that was for the regular business. For a nonprofit, it is longer because you have to, again, start with the State Corporation Commission. But if you're going to be a qualified 501c3, there are a number of other things you have to do. And we can walk through that with the client. Now, we're mentors, we're not consultants. If I was a consultant, I'd charge you $5,000 and do that process for you. But then I'd sit down with you and say, well, what is it that you want to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to market it? And really, most of the folks that we've met are perfectly capable of doing that themselves.
Right.
So it's through a series of meetings. We don't do the work. We give the client some homework and say, here are 3 things you can do over the next week or 2. And then when they've done those things, they come back. We help them with the next set. So in the case of forming a nonprofit, we'd say, here are the forms for the state and the federal IRS that you're going to have to complete. So you fill those out as best you can. And then bring them in, we'll read them, we'll go over them with you, make some suggested changes, and then when you're ready, we can send it out. You can go ahead and send it on in. But we're working with the individual, guiding them, not doing the work for them.
Right. And that is so important that they are doing it themselves and really learning how to walk through that process. And I just love everything that SCORE is about, because we need small business. First of all, it's what helps our economy grow and provides a lot of employment. And I really appreciate that you guys volunteer and take the time out of your schedules to help other people that you don't know to grow. Thank you so much for that.
We work with a lot of other people that are in the community. We have office space in the Greater Williamsburg Chamber of Commerce, but we also work closely with the economic development offices here in Williamsburg that consists of York County, James City County, and the city of Williamsburg. And those 3 municipalities have gotten together and have funded a launch pad that is co-located with an entrepreneur center over at the college, so-called the College of William and Mary, but it's a university now. There are other resources throughout the area. From Thomas Nelson Community College has some entrepreneurial courses that you can take. If you're a nonprofit, Karen Dutro has a great organization on helping people to manage nonprofits, certified continuing education credits to advance your knowledge and get certified in running nonprofits. There's also the Williamsburg Health Foundation that has a very broad definition of health that can support a number of the different nonprofits. And more recently, we've been Williamsburg SCORE has been working with the local branch of the NAACP for York, James City County, and Williamsburg. We've conducted some seminars with them, and together, along with the Chamber of Commerce, we put together a small business panel of local entrepreneurs. We did one in October, had 4 different entrepreneurs put up on stage at the regional library, talking about how they got into business, the challenges that they face, and a lot of the questions centered around the balance of work life and family time. So we had the first of those in October. We did another one in March with 3 other entrepreneurs, and we're working on putting together another one. So we've really enjoyed being able to work with the different people throughout the community, all with different goals and objectives, but finding where we can overlap and support each other. And that was certainly the case with these small business panels, where we needed the manpower support from the Chamber of Commerce to actually put on the event. As I'm sure you know, there's a lot goes on behind the scenes to make these things successful. So it took the combined efforts of, in this case, 3 different organizations to put together a pretty successful program.
All right. If you are just tuning in, excuse me, we are Emerge. I am your host, Deshana Kemp Garnett, along with co-host Tiffany Boyle, and we are talking to Mr. Dean Risseux, the chair of the Williamsburg chapter of SCORE. So, Dean, talk to us. I know you can volunteer as a mentor. Are there other volunteers you all need as well for SCORE?
Yes, we running an operation like this. We've got 22 mentors that are, almost all of them are now certified by having gone through a series of webinars and training and interviews and working with some more senior mentors. We also have, so the mentor is fully certified to work one-on-one with the client. We also have subject matter experts who aren't quite that comfortable working one-on-one with the client, but have a great deal of expertise in a particular area. And perhaps it's tax law, perhaps it's human resources, which is a new area. I say new, we've been concentrating on that for a long time. It used to be that the spouse would do the books and do the payroll, and you just can't do that anymore.
Right.
We don't want our clients staring at the ceiling, wondering whether they might have missed something with the payroll, and with the various regulations that are all for the benefit of everybody, but you just can't keep up with that. You need a professional. And the internet has provided a way for small businesses to get as much payroll assistance as they want. Everything from doing all of it, or you can do some of it. You can do the postings week by week as the bills and expenses and revenues get processed. And then just at the end of the year, the accountant can take it from there, or the accountant can do the whole thing. And in human resources, they can take you from hiring the first person to hiring more people, and then how to release people, staying consistent with all the laws and regulations. So our emphasis is if a client comes in and wants to set up a home painting business, that person probably knows how to paint. They don't know about the payroll. They don't know about hiring and firing people and insurance and all that. So we want them to be able to concentrate on putting together the best paint crew they can without spending their time on the part that they're not interested in. So,
right.
Again, with the internet, you can get a lot of good support on those other areas, so you can concentrate on doing what you know and what you like best.
Awesome. So I hate to bring this wonderful interview to an end, but I do have about 2 more questions for you. So the first is, if someone is interested in becoming a mentor or just interested in the workshops and services provided by SCORE, how do they get in contact with SCORE and you?
You go to score.org, SCORE.org.
Easy
and that takes you to a page that has 2 green buttons. One of them says find a mentor, and the other one says how do I become a mentor? And that leads you to a page where you put in your contact information, and whichever button you push, based on your zip code, it would get routed. If you're here on the peninsula, it would get routed to our chapter, and we would have someone reach out within 48 hours to arrange a face-to-face meeting, and we can take it from there. So it's score.org. If you want to see what our specific workshops are, it's williamsburg.score.org, and that's our local website that lists the workshops that we have scheduled, both here in Williamsburg and down the peninsula, Newport News, and Hampton.
Awesome. What's your contact information?
Score.org. You know, I've got business cards, but the best way, if you call me and you want to work with me, I've got to tell you to go to score.org. That puts you in the system. It gets the contact information correct with the right phone number and everything else. So go to score.org, and we will get in touch with you within 48 hours.
And I'm a testament to that, because I did go online and I went to email, and then I called, and I promise you, he called me back within a day, and we were able to set this up to interview. So he is telling the truth. They are really good with their customer service at SCORE. All right.
Customer service is the big thing with every small business. You got to keep the customers happy.
All right. And our last question before we let you go is our signature question. And that is, what does the word emerge mean to you?
I love that word, because we talk about flowers emerging or a chicken emerging from the egg, and it didn't just happen. Before that flower emerged, it had a lot of support from its environment, being nurtured and using all those resources in order to come up as a flower or as a chicken. And even after it's emerged, it continues to need support in order to survive and thrive. And I link that directly with small businesses. They have this idea, but before they emerge to the public, they need to think it through and pull together the different resources so that when they open, it has a chance of success. And then even after it has emerged, it can continue to draw upon the different resources to grow and thrive. So I love the word emerge.
That is such a profound definition. I absolutely love the way you put that, and saying how, before it even emerged, the environment, it needed a team, it needed help to then pop through and show itself to the world. So that was absolutely great. And thank you so much, Dean, for all you do, and for volunteering, and for the rest of the people that volunteer as well. So thank you so much. And we hope more businesses will come to SCORE and get help.
SCORE.org. Before you start your business or after you started it.
SCORE.org. You heard it here.
Thank you both. It's been enjoyable.
I'm Tiffany Boyle, and you are listening to Emerge here on WHOV.
Can I have your attention for a moment? Listen. Did you hear that? That was the sound of cancer cells being eradicated with proton beam therapy. If caught in time, a cancer diagnosis does not have to be a death sentence. It doesn't have to be painful, and it doesn't have to subject you to the many side effects of traditional radiation. The Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute invites you to live your life and let us fight your cancer with the most precise cancer treatment available. And now that precision is even sharper thanks to the addition of pencil beam scanning. PBS has treated over 1,800 patients and is only available in select Proton facilities in the U.S. The actual treatment lasts 2 minutes or less. Remember this sound. A healthy, normal life can be yours again, cancer-free. Find out how. Call the Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute at 877-251-6838 now.
Someone once said, "Getting there is half the fun." From downtown to Old Town, Hampton Roads Transit and Go Pass 365 connects you to entertainment, restaurants, friends. Go Pass 365. Find out more at gopass365.com.
WHOV would like to thank HRT for its support of WHOV programming.
I'm Deshana Kemp-Garner, and it's time for my 2 cents. So this is what I want to talk to you all about today. Can any of you think back to that moment where you first knew without a shadow of a doubt that you wanted to start your business? So here's what happened with me. I had a feeling, like one of those feelings like in your gut when you feel really, really strongly about doing something. So in my case, I felt really strongly about starting my business. I had been presented with a lot of life-changing opportunities, but I just knew that all roads pointed to me becoming a business owner, right? So full steam ahead, I decided, I'm going to do this, started thinking about business names, logos, all these crazy things. And then I'm like, let's get down to the basics. So quickly, I realized that all of these items on my list required me to have money. And what didn't I have? I did not have money. So whoever came up with that saying, you have to spend money to make money, I'm pretty sure they were a business owner. So here I was just sitting at my desk feeling completely deflated, frustrated, because I had a long laundry list of things that I wanted to do without any clue of how I was going to do it, but knowing that I needed the money, right? So for me, giving up was not an option. I couldn't give up on something I felt so strongly about, because I realized that wouldn't just be giving up on the idea of being a business owner. That would be me giving up on my future, on my goals and my dreams. So what I did was I said, hey, I'm going to need some help. I want to start this business. Like, what resources are available to me? What do I need to do? So I found a financial professional and I sat down with this person, and let me tell you, it was one of the best ideas I could have ever come up with, right? A lot of people will go to the dentist maybe twice a year. We'll go get a checkup on our physical health, but how often do we really go and have a checkup on our finances? So when I sat down with this financial professional and, we kind of talked about what I wanted to do, what money I had coming in, what money I had going out, I realized that at that time I was spending a lot more than I was making. And how could I change this and, get these finances in order so I can go ahead and start my business? What I realized was the shopping was directly correlated to my debt. And I kind of needed to scale that back a little bit. And I realized, all right, I could start couponing. I could, of course, not go out as much. But I knew that some changes had to be made in my life if I was going to start this business, right? So I want to talk to you about having plenty of change. And plenty of change can mean a lot of things. For me, it was 2 things, like changing my mindset, changing my habits when it came to my finances, and also change as in money. So I stopped shopping so much. I started, looking for better interest rates, started paying down things that I could. And really, couponing was really, really big, when I started my business. And just changing my mindset, really learning to differentiate things I really, really want or things I really, really need. So all of those changes came together and it really helps me. I'm not saying this is going to work for everyone. My journey can be different, from your journey. There are some people who are going to relate, but anything you feel strongly about, anything you feel compelled to do, you can do it. You just have to figure out how. And sometimes you need a mentor. You need to sit down with a financial professional. You need somebody who's going to help you, give you the real, and help you get on the right track. Whether it's the change that comes out of your pocket or the changes you have to make to you, plenty of change is going to be required. The change is going to add up. And so just think about it. If you could get to where you wanted to be without making any changes to who you already were, you would already be there, right? But, I'm Deshana Kemp Garnett, and that's my 2 cents. Taking a look at our local and regional activities. Let's take a look at some local and regional activities. Ladies Around the Globe is hosting Fab and Fit Ladies Around the Gym on Wednesday, May 18th at 7:30 p.m. at Butch Fitness in Hampton, Virginia. For more information, visit www.ladiesaroundtheglobe.com. Breakfast for Bosses is a monthly networking event hosted by Peace and Grind Wellness and Business Center and Steva's Kitchen. Every 4th Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., come out and eat, network, make a vision board, and support some of the 757 small businesses. Pop-up shop 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information, visit info@peaceandgrindwb.com. 1701 has partnered with Hampton Roads SBDC to offer free small business counseling services in Vibe Creative District. These services are available to any and all small businesses. Sign up for a consultation on June 3rd, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit 1701vb.com. The Emerge Awards and Premiere, the must-attend event of the year. Emerge presents a 3-day event all about entrepreneurs, Sunday, October 16th through Tuesday, October 18th. For more information about these events, visit www.emergepremiere.com. Thank you to all our guests on today's episode. If you missed today's show, visit our website, www.emergethemagazine.com.
Emerge, emerge yourself.